Hey there, it's John Chen, Engaging Virtual Meetings. It's September 8th, and man, fall has already descended upon Seattle, although we have a lot of props to our friends in California who just had 115, 117 degrees. You should be here with us in the Northwest. You know, great things are happening here around on virtual and in person. I'm just looking forward to all the stuff that is happening. I got to working on a deal to see if I can working with a distribution engine that will put me into a whole bunch of learning management or LMS systems. So I'm just excited about that. And I'm just excited for what's coming up. Oh yeah, and of course we have a conference thing coming up October 18th through the 22nd. I've
Nice.
got 14 of the top virtual speakers, and we're going to have a 5-day conference. And I hope that you join us for that. It's engagingvirtualmeetings.com/conference. Again, engagingvirtualmeetings.com/conference. Meanwhile, while I was virtual networking, I met this guy. Check it out. Right? He is the kickboxing, opera singing, cancer scientist from the one and only Philadelphia. Let's welcome to the stage the one and only Raja Vaidya. Raja,
Thank you very much, John. Appreciate it, man. What a great intro. And let me ring the victory bell for you for being such a great host.
all right. Well, we got victory bills, we got Mario coins, we got everything here.
Beautiful. Loving it, man.
Too funny. So, Raja, what a title, right? Okay, not many people can be claimed kickboxing, opera singing, cancer scientist. By the way, of course, my girlfriend works at a cancer research place here in Seattle known as Seattle Genetics. And dad was a doctor, mom was a nurse. So we're kind of in the same sphere doing the right thing. Do this a favor for me, Raja. Some of my friends don't know who you are. Who are you and what do you do?
Well, I've been a cancer scientist for the past 25 years. I've worked primarily in the heme malignancies of oncology. So you've heard of the major drugs that I've helped to be on the teams that brought to market, drugs such as Imbruvica for arthritis, Zytiga for prostate cancer, Darzalex for multiple myeloma, and most recently, just this past year, in 2022, we just got FDA approval for both teclistamab, which is a multiple myeloma antibody therapy, as well as Carvykti, which is a CAR T cell therapy for multiple myeloma. So we've done a lot of great things, and I've been proud to say that Darzalex was my baby. I spent 2.5 years making the kits and sending them out to the clinical trials for over 2.5 years. So when that got FDA approved and now it's a $5 billion drug, I can say, boom, baby, that's my stamp is on there. Say I did that. I'm very happy to just to create that impact. So
And
that's part of it.
yeah, you know, cancer, it's like you're going to say two things are going to get you, right? It's going to be your heart or it's going to be cancer is like the highest odds things out here. How did you get into cancer work and cancer research?
Well, actually, when I was young in college, my aunt, she actually got acute myeloid leukemia. And at that time, she was very young. She was 24, 25. And so my family, us being first a generation here, I was the science person in the family, and I was the oldest brother to my family. So I would help take her to the doctor's offices and get her tests and everything. And she waited too long, so she was already stage 4. So we had to fly her brother over from India to America just to get her bone marrow transplant. That bought her 6 months. That's it. So back then, the chance of survival from AML was only 25%. So I knew after college I wanted to do something to kind of impact the medical field, and I got into a cancer research lab at the University of Pennsylvania, and I worked there for 3 years in a melanoma lab. In 3 years, I co-authored 3 papers, and then I went to Big Pharma. Then I went to Merck and GlaxoSmithKline, and then to Johnson and Johnson.
Yeah.
And it just expanded my impact and reach. And I love that we get to do something that's new every day, and as well as we know at the end it's going to save a lot of lives.
Amazing, right? And I love that again, most people too, I think that work in cancer have a personal story somewhere, all right? And one
Yeah.
is it's really bad. The odds are really high because so many people get it. But number two, it's great to hear that something like that drew you to that, knowing you're trying to make a difference in somebody else's, mom, sister, loved one's life, right?
Right, indeed. And even I took it a step further too, even when My company had actually sponsored the Philadelphia Tri Rock. That's the triathlon,
Yeah.
and they play rock and roll music. And so I had just recently had a car accident, and I had hit my head onto the windshield. I glassed my head for 6 months, and I couldn't turn my head to the left for 2.5 years. So you know what I did? I did triathlons because I could twist my head to the right at least. So I did 7 triathlons, and I raised over $30,000 for the cancer center at CHOP. So for those of you out there that are wondering, oh, I'm too tired, I don't have time, I don't feel like it, make time.
Big
Life
time.
is short. I'm only going to live to 125. So
Yeah,
let's
I
make the
love it. Yeah. Make time and do something. Those are my two definite pieces with that. I thought you said you're going to turn your head one way. I thought you're going to do NASCAR because you only have to turn one direction.
Oh, that would have been a good idea. Yeah, but you have to turn to the left, so I couldn't turn to the left at that time. I'd have to spin the other way.
Oh yeah,
I'd
read.
probably be crashing into cars, causing a lot more accidents.
So now tell me a little bit more. I think again you are out of big pharma and you're doing your own thing here, right? You're helping introverted executives with unstoppable confidence. Is that what you're doing now?
Yeah, so what I do is, if you see behind me, I have Victory Mindset Academy. I've had my own fear of yes, speaking my whole life because I've had a lifelong stutter. So for me, speaking in front of people, whether it's one person or 10,000 people, it's pretty scary. But what I did is, after my accident, I started slurring my words like this. I had like a bit of stroke. So I had to find a way to get more clarity with the way that I speak, as well as be able to communicate better with people, because I knew otherwise it was only going to get worse. So
Yeah.
I joined Toastmasters, and then 5 years later, I have gleaned so much from it. I've been now the uh, area contest winner in our international speech category 2 years back to back, as well as winning last month the ultimate speaker competition in Philadelphia. I got the semifinalist, so pretty proud of that because that's my
Oh, yeah,
non-Toastmaster
very
friends.
cool.
I know, and then while I was at J&J, I spearheaded these speaker confidence workshops, and I didn't know how they were going to go. 20 people signed up the first year, but 40 showed up. And the next year, during pandemic, we had 80 people show up virtually. And then the third year, I had 150. And then after that, somebody reached out to me from the New Brunswick site up in North Jersey, which is the capital
Yeah.
of J&J. Somebody wanted me to give the workshop on how to speak with confidence and how to speak with engagement to over 300 registered J&J employees. So I already shown that this works. This ended up in me like receiving a Inspire Award for changing company culture positively, and they
Ooh.
don't give a lot of those out. So I was pretty happy about that.
Well, Raja, yeah, again, thanks for sharing that. All right, it seems that you've taken a challenge that you're given in life, and of course, overcome it, and then turn it into something, right? That can really help people. For you, what's the top one or two thing that you need to do so that you speak confidently, especially when you're on virtual?
Well, one thing is just to be prepared. I think a lot of us kind of oversight the fact that a lot of things can be solved with preparation. But when we go to a tournament like in karate, if you don't practice your form, if you don't practice your sparring, if you don't practice your flexibility, you don't do drills and you don't do rounds with your classmates, you're not going to improve. So you have to be prepared. That's the first thing. Make time to prepare. Just do your homework. It's a simple thing. When you and I talked about this, I asked you ahead of time, what we need, what we're going to be doing, and how can I make it better. So, I came into play. The second thing is relax. I think honestly, the hardest thing is, yes, take it down a notch, my friends. So I do deep breathing exercises, and what I do is it helps to control your adrenaline. It
Mhm.
also helps to increase the amount of hyperoxygenate in your blood, so that way you feel more energetic and more confident. So
Mhm.
right now, I feel alive. I can't wait to go. So
That's what you tell people too. Yeah, one of the things that I always say, like if you want energy in your virtual meeting, you need to bring it.
yeah,
right? And because it starts with you, like if I came like this, right? And I love when I try and do my best Deepak Chopra impersonation. Well, I'm gonna introduce my very exciting guest now. Right? That's not gonna work, right? Nobody's gonna like. I just put 42 people asleep,
I
right?
know exactly.
You got to come and bring that energy, and so you need to do that. Yeah, I was saying you need to bring in what meaning that you got to get yourself right before you can get your virtual audience right. They're not going to bring you the energy. You need to bring it, right? And so I appreciate
Exactly.
some of those tips. So let's move on to that too. You said that
Sure.
you've done a lot of instructional around virtual and things like that, right? What has to happen for you in a virtual meeting for it to be engaging?
First of all, people have to show up on time. So always send out reminders. Reminders are critical because if you people sometimes are busy 15 minutes before the start of your show or the start of your meeting. Send an email or text message out both an hour ahead as well as 15 minutes ahead. Send it a day ahead too, so they know when to show up because those simple reminders, keeps them in alignment with what they wanted because they want to be at your meeting because they signed up for it. So if you don't remind them and keep them in alignment, you're doing them a disservice. You're not bothering them, right? So just always do reminders. Second thing is when you're on, start the show fun. I always start out with wins of the week, and we ring the victory bell for the people, all my clients that come in and do something great. Like somebody just wrote their book, somebody just finished their first 5K, somebody just went to the gym for the first time in 2 years after surgery. Fantastic! What an amazing win! Woohoo! So we bring up the energy up here, and then as we start to do that, you feel the mood change. You can feel it. It has a certain gravity. And for me too, is that if you hear the sound of my voice keeps on changing pitch up and down, that's purposeful. As an opera singer, we learn how to train that. And I think that's one of those things that when you learn the power of your voice, when I want to speak with authority, this is what I'm saying. I invoke my Mufasa. And if you're not
Oh yeah,
with it,
channel your inner
you
Mufasa.
better listen to this next thing if you want to survive. And then other times, children, this is the way that we're going to go to bed when the thunderstorm comes and the lights went out, but let's tell a story. So by being able to do those multiple ranges and being able to storytell, I mean, my God, like I should be a voice actor of Coach. I mean, it's so much fun. I love doing that. And by the way, side note, when I was a younger kid, I have two younger sisters. So my youngest sister, she's 6 years younger than me. She had a whole bunch of stuffed animals. So I would do voices for all of them and create little characters, and we'd have little stories and adventures. Yeah, it was fun.
It's good practice, I think. Yeah. So yeah, I advocate to number one, right? Get the right mic so that you can be clearly understood. Then the second part is then use your voice. Your voice actually, I think, counts sometimes more than your video here on virtual.
Oh, I think it does.
Right? And some
Very
of
much
my
so.
friends said they said like your keynote, if you're a keynoter, your voice is 75% of your delivery, right? And your video is only 25%. And so by varying your voice, doing tempo and speed, like sometimes doing things that are really fast, or demarking something by slowing
Yeah.
down is like the most important things that you do. And then, again, your voice quality too, high, low pitches, other things like that. Again, you want to make it natural to you and not go too far out.
Right.
And you wanna use some of that variety because otherwise, like you get the same monotone and that's the audience starts falling asleep with that, right?
Right. And then also, I mean, look at this. I mean, you can buy $200 mics, or you can buy something like this for $20. That just it's just a little like a lapel mic, but it's an exponential improvement over just using the camera that's in your webcam, or God forbid, like just through your computer, because it's always so the gain is always set too high, so you hear that crackling and static in the background. Versus this, now you can adjust it a little bit,
Yeah.
and you can also hear the quality of your voice. Plus, by having that right on you, it kind of removes some of that exterior and that side noise around you as well.
Yeah, I do demos all the time. That's why I like this. This is called a Countryman So this mic here, the key
Hmm.
here is that it's always the same distance from my mouth, right? So even if I
Yeah.
turn my head left and right, this is why I don't like lavaliers when
Hmm.
even when I'm presenting live, because if you turn your head, you
Yeah.
lose that. And again, it's this distance versus this distance will make a difference in the
Gotcha.
vocal quality that is totally picked up. Now let's go back to speaking
Put that
vocal.
next on my bucket list. Then I got to get one of those now.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'll give you the whole setup, right? This is a Countryman with a Sennheiser, and it's wireless, so that I can get up and move around. Like,
Fantastic. I want one of those. Let's do it.
oh, by the way, it's in my equipment list. I'll chat you a link to my equipment
Okay.
in just a second. Now,
Very cool.
the other piece here too is you're an opera singer. So talk about the journey to become an opera singer. Because opera singing, of course, is very unique in that not everybody can do that, right?
Right. Well, I found out when I was younger that when I sing, I don't stutter. So I decided to take advantage of that because then that became my that became my verbal outlet. So I just joined the choir, seventh, eighth grade. But then in ninth grade, I didn't know this, but there were actually competitions you can go to in the choir. You had district, regional, state choir. I said, oh wow, that's pretty cool. So I did that. My freshman year, I didn't make anything. My 10th grade, I got into our touring choir. Junior year, I got into our district choir, and that's as far as I went. Senior year, unfortunately, I had to get braces. So I got a bite plate pretty late in life. So I had to sing like this. I had to talk like this and sing like this. Oh God, for 6 weeks, I think it was 6 or 8 weeks, and that came during that competition time. I'm like, it was horrible. So for districts where I had come in, I think 13th out of 20 before, this time I came in 18th out of 40. And I thought, oh my God, this is horrible. I won't make it to regionals if I do this. So I begged my orthodontist, my parents, please just take the damn thing out so I could go on. When they took it out, and I went to like regional competition. So now they take the top 20 of the original first 40. So now you have two districts going to regional. So it's really out of 80, they take the top 20. So now 20 out of 80 competitors, I became first chair. I think
First
I
chair.
know that was it was a shock. I was just my jaw dropped. I'm like, oh, I was just there looking at everybody. I'm like, wait, was that really me? Was that really? And I had some of the smartasses in my choir were saying, oh no no no, it wasn't you. It was this other guy. And so they were trying to mess with me. But it was all in good fun. And so and because of that, I went on to All State also as a first chair. And then college I sang, but then after college, I got into this group called the Mendelssohn Club. So we sang backup for the Philadelphia Orchestra. Did that for 2 years, but I wanted to do something a little more. And one of the ladies in my lab, her husband was the composer for an opera company, and they invited me to come watch a show once. I came my first one, and I had my preconceptions of what opera was. Cause I showed up and I just, oh my God, I was just blown away with the power of the voices. So then I joined them. I started in the opera chorus. Then I got comprimarios. Comprimarios means like small solos.
Yeah.
And then I became a lead singer for multiple shows. I was Papageno in the Magic Flute. I sang also in Don Giovanni. I was Escamillo in Carmen. Oh, that's the one thing everybody always knows. I hear this in TikTok all the time. My kids are always singing this. And
Oh,
they're like, "Oh my God, that's a TikTok song." I'm like, "No, no, that's not a TikTok song. It is Toreador Rongada, Toreador, Toreador, et songe bien, oui, songe en combattant, à nos noirs regards." So that's the fun
oh,
part.
wait. Hold on a second.
Thank you, brother. That was nice.
That was nice. No, that's was going to ask for opera demo, but sometimes with singers you're not ready.
I
Or
figured it was coming up.
yeah, that was genius. So that was your path to opera. One of the things that you brought in there from my training in accelerated learning is what's called overtraining. And overtraining is like if you want to learn how to speed read, try and read 4 books at the same time. And even if you do it poorly, your brain trying to learn how to read 4 books at the same time,
Hmm.
when you come back to read one, gets much easier.
Oh, interesting.
I wonder if your bite plate was like this. Like you worked hard to sing with this bite plate.
Yeah, I just think through it, and I think that's probably what helped. because then I had to really force the air out. I had to really, so maybe that's the next thing I'm gonna do. Like I'm gonna sell a bite plate as a training aid for singers.
Like they do that resistance trainers, right? Like if you're an athlete and you're trying
Yeah,
to jump higher, they'll put rubber bands on you to hold you down,
of course.
works the muscles. So when you actually jump higher, now you're jumping 40, 50 inches, right?
Yeah. And we use the same thing like in the karate school. Like we have these elastic bands that we attach to our ankles, so that way you have to force yourself to kick, and you're getting resistance even more. And on top of that, I know singers, elite athletes, like even myself, like when I went to World Championships, we were trying to do things like trying some way to do like a resistance training, breathing wise. I mean, swimming helps a lot. The other thing is there's something online I saw, something called a power lung. It's basically like a resistance tube you breathe through every day, and that helps to work your inspiratory muscles.
Yeah, it'll reduce the amount of oxygen. We actually use them for high altitude climbing training,
Oh, nice.
right?
Very
So
good.
get on a stair climber, restrict the oxygen because
Yep.
basically, like at the top of Rainier, I've summited Mount Rainier, and the oxygen's
Oh,
about
nice.
the level at sea level, and so you need to, if you want to train that at sea level, you got to like take away half of the oxygen with that. You
Yeah.
know, yeah. So that's a great piece here too, and I just like got to tell you too, Raja.
Yeah.
Already, I just verified that you have original sound on.
What does that mean?
That means that you are broadcasting. So you've turned on Zoom's feature for music, right? And so it's called original sound. All right.
Okay.
You also transmit twice as much data when you are in your audio. This is a trick
Oh,
that all speakers should use.
okay.
We discovered it. By the way, you're invited too, but we have a karaoke group that sings every Saturday at 7 p.m.
Oh my God. I'm in. I
Yeah,
love that stuff. It's fun.
I put the link in the chat, and so it's in the chat in the Facebook thing. I'll give you a link here in just a
Okay.
second. Now the other part is that we discovered something called original sound. So what happens
Okay.
is that if you try and sing here on Zoom or
Yeah.
any virtual platform, Zoom is optimized for speaking. So it thinks that you're yelling and it goes, "Hey, we got to shut you down, Raja," right?
Mm.
And so for singing, people sing really loud, and basically it tried to like we sometimes didn't hear any people at all. But if you turn on this feature and it's in audio settings and then professional audio, it's called original sound. You turn it on. You have to put a bunch of switches in, and on the top left, turn it on. It also says that also transmit in twice the quality. So basically, Zoom by default only transmit like 24 kilohertz,
Oh God, it's terrible.
and that it doubles the frequency. So basically, doubles the amount of data that you're sending when you do this. And I can tell Roger did it when he started singing. One, he didn't get clamped down, and two, because it sounds good, he actually knows about this. And I advocate now for turning it on all the
All the
time.
time. Yeah. Could be
I'm
better.
Yeah, I'm playing music all the time. So like if I'm playing music like this, right? So and I actually have an ASCAP license. You can play copyrighted music in virtual meetings, right? But you can't live stream it because live streaming will still catch it. You got to do something special for that. But I'm
Yeah,
playing music, and I want that music to be heard in all my virtual meetings. So,
of course.
why is music so important to you, Raja? I'd love to hear that.
Oh my God. Well, first of all, the obvious reason is that music really transcends everything, everybody's cultures, monetary situation, your race, religion, creed, whatever. I mean, I think that we can enjoy music in so many different ways. And in fact, last month, June, no, I guess 2 months ago now, it's a June 11th at my church choir concert with Amber Station Singers. We were doing a Broadway review, and my choir director heard me at an early rehearsal just playing something on the piano. And she said, "Roger, that was beautiful. What is that?" I said, "Oh, it's just something I'm working on." So she poked a little bit deeper into it and said, "Well, what's it about?" And I said, "Well, it has to do with a friend of mine who died when I was 17 years old, and it kind of left a hole in my soul for a long time. So I wanted to do something positive. So I wrote this this piano composition called "You Are Enough," and when I publish it, all the proceeds are going to go towards suicide prevention as well as mental health issues. Like I'm not going to take a penny from it, and because I think kind of like what Bob Marley said is that the evil people out there are not taking a day off. So the good people shouldn't either. And this is after he got shot and he's going to his concert and people are asking why is he still going. So the good people shouldn't take a day off. So if you see that sometime later, if I can share a link, it's not up yet, but it's going to be "You Are Enough" by Vaidya. And so we can change how people think. Our emotional state can be changed with music. How many times have I seen Rocky and hearing "Eye of the Tiger" and getting pumped up, like for a fight? It's awesome. Everybody has pump up music that you do before they go to the gym, before competition. Have you ever watched like elite athletes? Have you seen boxers? They got their headphones on. They're playing something to
Yeah.
get them in the mood, right? Why is that? Like every time you see like an MMA fighter walk out, they have a theme song, right? Why is that? It's to pump them up and to pump up the crowd to bring up that emotion. So really, music is what I love about music, and being a scientist, music is harmonic wavelengths connecting us all together.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that beautiful? Harmonic wavelengths connecting us all.
I think, especially in virtual meetings, it's a factor that people forgot.
Yeah.
Like all the time in like even in smaller meetings or in the office, people use background music and things like that. But in virtual, it was hard, right? You had to, know some
Yeah.
about how to do it, and it was easy to do wrong. Uh, and all I can tell you is I adopted it early,
Yeah.
uh, and I can play like 2 seconds of a well-known song, and it will change the mood of an entire virtual meeting
Oh
because
yeah.
they already know the song,
Instantly.
right?
Yeah, they know it.
And
And you can feel that mood shift.
yeah, and so I think that's why music and musicians are so powerful, right? When you make a song that is recognizable to millions like that, right? You have the ability to change all their states, and so that's why I think the society still values musicians to this day, and I think I value it even more here on virtual. Like every meeting, I think Raji even knows. Like he came in, all right, I'm playing a song, right, when everybody comes in, and sometimes if I know something about that person, like now I know Raja, like I might play him opera. One of the things that I do too, as a virtual producer, I do ask Raja. I ask,
Yeah.
"What's your walk on song?" You get like, "We get a walk on song." You're like, "I want to walk," and as soon as like
I
people think it's weird, but afterwards, after somebody hears it, they're like, "Wait, I want my where's my walk on song?" Right?
Well, John, this gives me some great ideas too, because like on my in my pre-event questionnaire that I sent to guests on my show, one of the questions is, what is your favorite song or music? Raja may play it for you, and
Yeah.
that's like a hint. So I already have that in there because like I know how much music shapes us. I mean, you can tell something about a person by what is their favorite type of music or type of song, and and usually there's a story behind it. Well, why'd you pick this one? Why is it American Pie? Why is it a Hotel California? Why is it Oops, I Did It Again? Okay, well, what's that about? I mean, I don't know, but I'd like to hear the story behind it because it shapes us.
I'm gonna reverse on you. What's your walk on song and why? I want to hear Raja's version. I know he's thought about it.
Gosh, gosh, I thought about it. I think honestly, I think Eye of the Tiger. I keep it over and over again, and every time I hear it, I just get pumped up because that was when I was I this is another story, but when I was training for like world championships at 16, I went to world championships and I placed. I took home 2 trophies, and then I made a 2-year plan to go to the like Olympic trials at age 18. So 3 months after my 18th birthday, I won my first national championship, beating out 400 other black belts to pre-qualify for the Olympic trials. So, and part of that journey was every Saturday, I would visit my parents' house. I'd bring my laundry because it was college, and I while I'm doing laundry, I'd watch Rocky, and specifically I would watch Rocky Rocky 3. 3 was my favorite, I think, because first of all, Mr. T, he's a badass. I love him. I love the guy.
I
Just
pity the fool.
great, great. I pity the fool. And so you see, one of the things I liked was that everybody for some reason and loves to watch a hero fall. But what I really loved about him is that how he picked himself back up. He thought he was down and out. And one of the themes there for me when I watch Rocky 3 is that it's hope. It's not only about losing and winning. It's not about boxing.
Yeah.
It's about hope. And there's plenty of people out there in the pandemic, and we can tie this in, is that you've lost hope. You've either lost something. We've lost 5 people during the pandemic to COVID in our family. So it's been like devastating to us as well. And, we have to find hope in the many different areas. We have to shine a spotlight in our blind spots so that we can find it. And truly, music is one of those things that help us find hope, because then it changes our mood. It changes the way we feel, so we can start to get back on that line of positivity.
Hmm. If you haven't ever heard it, right? I
Yeah.
used to hang out with Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins does tell the behind the scenes story of Sylvester Stallone selling the first Rocky movie,
Yes, I
right?
know. I've read all the back history about it. I love it. He
Right.
talks about how he had to sell his dog and the other things, and he talks about how much he offered for his script when he was broke. They go from $16,000 up to $200,000, and he still says no, because I think they wanted Robert Redford to play Rocky.
They wanted him. They were going to pay him not to star in his own role, and he.
That's right. That's right. So he finally agreed and said, "All right, fine, I'll just take scale." And he filmed the entire first Rocky movie in 28 days. They told him if he didn't film the entire thing in the first 30 days, he would lose the script, he would lose the rights, and he wouldn't even be in it.
Yeah.
So he made that deal, and it paid off. Is when it came out, my gosh, it was best film of the year. And like the Rocky theme song, anybody hears it playing. Like we used to play it during the triathlons. Like you hear "Gonna Fly Now,"
Oh
and
yeah.
you're running. It's like, oh man, you just start to run faster, and you're thinking you're like Rocky, like going through South Philly and like up those art museum steps. Oh, and last month, my wife and I just celebrated our 19-year anniversary.
Bravo.
Um, we were at the art museum, so I told my wife, "Oh, come on, let's go run up the steps like Rocky." She's like, "You run, I'm gonna walk." So I ran up the steps, and I'm acting like a fool up at the top, looking at Philadelphia, spinning around in a circle. Woohoo! Oh my God, I loved it. And it's one of those things that 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 music is so powerful.
Well, I love that. Now, so you just referenced this thing too. You said you're kickboxing. So when did the kickboxing thing start? Is that recent, or you've been doing it a while?
No, that's all part of our karate training. So I've been in the martial arts now for 37 years.
Uh-huh.
So I've been teaching, training. I taught as head instructor for my teacher for 25 years, and he likes to incorporate our base style was originally Taekwondo, but Taekwondo doesn't hit to the head. He liked boxing, so we incorporated the two. So we became kickboxers, and so every couple of years we kept incorporating new styles to keep advancing and evolving our style. So we went from Taekwondo alone to also doing kickboxing. Then we added jiu-jitsu, and then we added Krav Maga. And then I broke off and I opened up my own school, Vaidya Martial Arts. And for 7 years, I got certified as a samurai sword instructor by the like the New Jersey State Black Belt Association.
Wow.
And then I started Wing Chun. So what I started was every 5 years or so, I'd start a new style because I wanted to see where the weaknesses of
Mhm.
each style. And anybody says like, "Oh, this style is the best," or "This style is the best," I said, then you're not truly a master because you don't understand that every style has a strength and a weakness, truly.
You
And
know,
I don't.
we're in the city where Bruce Lee was, right? That was kind of his
Oh
philosophy.
my God, I want to go visit
We'll take you
his
to
old school, and I heard about the great point.
Yeah, we'll take you to two things. Like one of the is Seattle's oldest restaurant is a
Yeah,
Chinese restaurant that has a Bruce Lee room. But more importantly, is we'll take you to Bruce Lee's grave.
I want to see it. Yeah, I need to pay homage because two people really inspired me growing up about karate. Number one absolutely was Bruce Lee. Number two was the Karate Kid, because because the reason was I was an immigrant. I was transplanted from like Northeast Philadelphia, where I had all kinds of friends. Everybody, like we all got together. It was like black, white, Indian, the Chinese. Everybody, we all just kind of played together, and everybody was cool with each other.
Yeah.
Then I moved to the suburbs when I was 7 years old, and I'm the one Indian kid in an all-white classroom. And I stuck out like a sore thumb. People thought that I was an Indian, like I lived in a teepee and I ate buffalo. I'm like, no, what are you doing, dude? What are you talking about? So I always correct people that Christopher Columbus was wrong. He was looking for a spice route to India, and he thought he found India, but instead there's a cartographer by the name of Ameriga who actually named this new continent as America because it's based off of his name. So make sure when you say that word, Indian is someone from the South Asian continent, and a Native American is someone from here. But that sort of like taunting and bullying, got worse and worse over time. And in fifth grade, it got really bad because now I was in middle school. I was pretty much terrorized. There's a kid behind me who used to punch me in the back in Spanish class, and the teacher couldn't see it. So that just kept going on for months. They made fun of me at recess. They, even wrote a stuttering song, and the entire recess, the entire playground watched and laughed. And I was the one kid in the center being bullied horribly. So I decided then that things were going to change. And I just didn't know how I could change it. So I just kept looking. Should I join soccer? Should I join football? Should I try a sport to try to be cool or something? And then I saw the Karate Kid. And I saw, oh, here's this kid. He's transplanted, feels out of place. He gets bullied. So I just kind of saw a lot of myself in him. And I said, this is it. This is what's going to change my life. So the next day I asked my mom, Mom, can I join karate? She said, no, beta. They're going to hurt you.
No, beta.
And then I asked my dad, Dad, can I take karate? And he signs me up for a year. Yes. So I was set after that. And, it's funny when we think about it, that our first generation immigrant mentality, they didn't understand what karate was. All they knew was like, well, Raja, you have to go to school and you have to get straight A's. That's our culture of Asian society. And when I did that and I started to go to tournaments, started winning, they were just surprised. Actually, when I won that major tournament when I was 18, this is so funny. I told my parents, could you please stay and watch this? Please, this is a big one for me. You don't know how important this is. And my mom and dad were both like, no, it's okay. You're just going to bring home some trophies anyway. So when I won in there, I won 2 firsts and a second. I won the all around. I won the grand championship. So I got my first 6-foot trophy. And they had to drop off my aunt at the Newark airport. So all the way down from Philadelphia, all the way up to Newark. So it's like 2.5 hours. So they just couldn't even be there for me that day. So then the tournament directors were telling me, it's already 5 p.m. We need to shut down the hall. So they asked me to move my trophies back on the sidewalk. So here's this 18-year-old kid. I got 4 big trophies just standing there in my uniform and with my karate stuff. And then people are walking by looking at me funny. And thank God there was a payphone nearby, and I actually had 1 quarter left. And I told my dad, I said, Dad, make sure you bring the station wagon. I know. And so that was a fun story. But part of that journey was the reason why I got good at karate. And here's something that I want to ask everyone out there in the audience is that when I joined my first karate school after 2.5 years, I was pre-testing for black belt. And when I was there, I went through that test and I thought, God, I paid $100 for this. Why? And why am I paying for a pre-test and then for the normal test? It made no sense. So I went and spoke to him, and this is my Korean master, and here I am with this like 13-year-old, dweeb, like talking to him, trying to ask him, excuse me, sir. I'm trying to put my head down, and I'm like getting stuck on my words because I'm so like nervous talking to him. He's like, I think there was something wrong with the test. I didn't feel like it challenged me and blah 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 blah. So he was very apathetic towards me. He just looked down at me like with like disdain, and he said, Raja, go back to class. You don't know anything. I'm like, whoa, okay, so I'm not allowed to question you at all? So I was a little bit heartbroken because then I realized I had joined a belt factory. So I did what every good student would do. I was a week away from my black belt test. All right, a week away from my black belt test. I quit. Because I didn't want the belt if it didn't mean something. So I joined another school. Because at 13 years old, and this is not to toot my own horn, at 13 years old, I had the understanding that most 30-year-olds don't. I didn't want the shortcut to black belt. I wanted to be a real black belt. So one of my speeches I give is how to say no to black belt to become a true master. Because how many of us in life have said yes to the easy way?
Is that your question to the audience?
Yeah, and that can be to anything in your job, in your relationships, in a sport that you're doing. Have you taken the shortcut just to get the easy win, but really denied yourself the true gift of and that challenge of becoming a true master in it? Now, I'm a 6th-degree black belt. I'm in multiple black belt halls of fame. I have a movie. I have comic books. I have a book coming out. It's called Unbox Me Today. And so saying no to that black belt, number one, proved to myself, I was not going to settle for anything less than being the best version of me that I could be. And I think that is really the true journey that all of us sometimes need to face, is that, am I going to take the shortcut, or am I going to go for the big win, the real win?
Yeah, that's what we say about like mountain climbing, right? Which is like no
Yeah.
matter what you did in life or whatever, if you got to the summit, that was you. You earned that. You
Yeah.
could take that with you, and it never goes away, right? And the summit averages on Denali, which is in Alaska, 22,000 feet, 23,000 feet,
Okay.
it's like, less than 10% overall in a year. So every 10 people who try, like nine fail.
Oh, wow. Really? It's that much.
Yeah,
Whew.
that's to count the winter, because in the winter it's really, really high, but during the summer is like when everyone summits. But still, no, you can't take that away. Like you did that, all right? And it is you carried the body. No one's going to carry you there, and if you did carry you there, like you didn't. That's a shortcut. You didn't really earn it, all right?
Exactly, exactly. And I don't like that. It's like, there's plenty of things in life that we can talk about. And if I start talking about karate and different stories that happened, it's truly about, like, as I developed this program, I thought about all the different experiences I'd learned, and one overarching theme kept coming back to me, is that, I remember seeing people turn on mentally, emotionally, physically, when they get a mind shift in their training. So
Yep.
right now, when we have new students, they have a mind lock. I call that the white belt mind lock, and I help them over the years to go to a black belt mind shift. And what that does is it enables them to success stack all those wins, all those important things that they've done with their training, and it creates this positive momentum, this forward velocity, which they carry over once they get their black belt into their life, their business, their family, and it changes you forever. It's one of those things, like whether you're a black belt, you become an Eagle Scout, whether you become a valedictorian of your high school class, your prom king or queen. It's something that, greatness stays with a person, because you can always refer back to and say, I did it once. So you broke that belief that's not possible. You broke that belief. So if I did it once, I can do it again. That's
Well,
why people who make $1 million and then they lose it, they can make their second million in half the time or a tenth of the time, because they've already broken that belief barrier, which is the first thing that gets in people's way.
4 minute mile. My friend
Yep. Roger Bannister.
is on here. She's a Latina, and she's also an American Sign Language interpreter. And
Uh-huh.
I just wanted to tell you that I needed this talk today. So thank you,
Oh,
Raja. You
fantastic. Well,
impact in somebody's life, right?
gracias, señora. Señorita.
And she's one of our karaoke singers. So if you do come on Saturday, you'll meet her. She's
Oh,
amazing.
awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
She just sang the national anthem at Fenway Park.
Nice, nice.
So yeah, see, anything's possible with that. Yeah, I love that you stack all those things on there. We're getting close here to the end. What do you see now that you've seen virtual? And I think you're a fan, obviously, of technology and making an
Mhm.
impact, right? What do you see as the future in virtual? Like, what's coming up in the next 3, 5, and 10 years in virtual for you?
Uh, for virtual technologies and events, I think that first thing is it's here to stay. It's not going away. I think at some point it's nice to have live events, but I think that for the most part, these virtual events, because they're so much more convenient, they're more cost effective, and people can kind of jump in and out of their lives to attend meetings, it's here to stay. I think that two things have to happen. Number one, this technology with cameras, we're already up to 4K cameras. I have a Logitech Brio, which is a fantastic webcam to have. It's one of the gold standards for anybody who does like a video logging. And but now other companies are now having cameras that follow you as you move, and you see this. Some of the Google has something like that. I think Alexa came out with something like that as well. And so if we can incorporate these into these webcams, then we can stand up and move more rather than having somebody on a tripod trying to follow you. Let the camera do it. Because what's going to happen then is, like, now it's going to feel much more like we're there physically and personally, because then you see the person's body language. I mean, and truly, for me to sit here, I feel kind of like talked a little bit. I want to get up and jump around. I want to show you my sword. I want to do some other things. And by the way, like, I love Wudan sword in the background there. Like, we're going to talk more about swords later because that's one of my favorite topics to talk about. Because I just love it. And but so that's one thing, is that camera technology is going to improve where we're able to kind of free ourselves from our chairs, and that's going to be healthier for us also, because
Yeah.
then we can move around. Because they say nowadays, sitting is the new smoking, right?
Yeah.
So it frees us to move around.
Yeah. Have you ever heard this term, Raja? Frustrum. You ever heard of that term?
Frustrum? No, I've not.
Okay, right. Frustrum is actually the amount of space. It's like usually a triangle that you have that you can participate in a virtual meeting, and be heard. So most
Gotcha.
people, it's like to this far left, this far right, and most of the time you're pinned by your microphone. So you got a lapel mic, so you can move
Yeah.
a little bit, but most people can do that. But I agree with you. The cool part is like the technology is possible today. So
Yeah.
if this
I
kind
li-
of stuff, right? Now we're back here and we can do this. You can find a way. So this is one of the things. It's possible, but most people don't do it.
Yeah. See, I love to teach and train like this. This is fantastic. See, like, you look like you're there.
Yes.
You look like you're somewhere there. So here I am standing in front of my office, teaching, doing a training, right?
Part of it is that the future is here because this is the reality. This is what's
It
happening.
is. It's all green screen.
But you can do it well, and then it's only going to get better, I think, right? So that you can
Yeah.
all these other places. Like here's one of my favorite. I kind of feel like this is Indonesia, right? This could be India somewhere.
Oh, nice. Very pretty.
And so yeah, so I'm just saying it's possible now, and that you should use some of those techniques now, and then see what's going to happen. Because you're right, right? Like normally, if you walk around, you need a camera person. All right, that's right. I know you said that you filmed this recently, and
Yeah.
that.
But
And soon you'll need all of these things together, where you can create um, a more engaging experience, right? Which is like we can go back to some of the things that we naturally do, right?
right. Because like if you want to be there on site, you want to tell somebody about, like, oh, like, I remember being here in like North Jersey, up in Brigham Beach. We were doing stills for our movie. Well, here we go. Here's one. Fight to live, Coach Raja. And that's me. And that's one of my favorite tools. Is I like the long staff.
Yeah.
And that's one of my favorite things to teach people, because you can apply it everywhere. You can pick up a broomstick, hockey stick. You can pick up an ice scraper from your car and use the same principles. That's why I love the sword too. It's really not about the sword. It's about the angles that
Yeah.
you can use to protect yourself.
Well,
And once you understand that, like, then you can use anything.
so the last closing piece I got for you, Roger. Thank you so much for the amazing amount of time. This is
Oh,
what
awesome! This was so much fun, John.
we really get a chance to know more about each other. In this case here, if people were listening to this, what's the one thing you want them to remember? If they could only remember one thing from all the things you said, what's your one thing?
All right. I hear a lot of times with the online gurus talking about, just fake it till you make it, and you get there. And I really take offense to that, because I don't think you should fake it. I think that what you do is you should lead with integrity, loyalty, and honor. That's my black belt code: integrity, loyalty, honor. So my motto out of my academy, what I always talk about, is that don't fake it till you make it. Instead, believe it and become it. And it's a big difference from faking things, because faking things puts you out of alignment with your honesty, with your integrity. I get the idea behind the phrase, but there's a better way to do it, and that really is start to believe in yourself first. When you believe it and you take action, you become it.
Well, we say that authenticity trumps everything.
Yes, I agree with you.
And so, you do you, and then see if you can do your better. So, Raja, thank you so much for your time here. Where can people find you at? I think you sent a Calendly link.
I sent a Calendly link. Also, if you want, I can put in my website on there. It's just Victory Mindset Academy.
And I'll
.com, and it's right there behind me. It's pretty hard to miss. Victory Mindset Academy, and just put a .com behind it, and you'll find me.
Awesome. I hope to see you in a future virtual meeting. And more importantly, like I said, come to our karaoke, engaging virtual karaoke.eventbrite.com every Saturday at 7 o'clock. Thanks again.
Oh, that's going to be fun. I can't wait to meet all your friends and become new friends with everybody. All right.
We'll see you next time.
Okay. Take care, everyone.
Uh,
Thank you.
this is John Chen. I'm glad you got a chance to meet Raja. This is really the cool part. I think, people who say you can't network on virtual, that's trash, right?
Yeah.
I think that you can do better networking. I've like got a chance to meet people from all around the world who have much different perspectives than I have, and I've gotten a chance to learn with them. My tip for you is use private chat, right? You see somebody that you like, you see how they're interacting in a meeting, private chat them and say, hey, I'd like to meet you.
Yeah.
That's your number one networking tip here. I'm John Chen. This is an Engaging Virtual Meetings interview, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, Raja.
Thank you.
Drawing star people and keep old people. Show you